Welcome to Topsail Insider, where you can hear all about the businesses and events in the beautiful coastal towns in the greater Topsail area of North Carolina. Coming up, we have not one, but two fabulous ladies joining Topsail Insider today. Miss Laurette Gordon, the Executive Director of the Missiles and More Museum, and Miss Cindy Scaparrotti, the President of the Historical Society of Topsail Island. Both entities are housed in the Historical Assembly Building in Topsail Beach, North Carolina. It's time to learn some history, folks. There's a lot here about World War II, why it's called the Assembly Building, the mysterious towers you see around the island, ghost tours, and pirates. We will discuss all of this and their popular bingo nights, the Jingle Ball, and Autumn with Topsail on today's episode of Topsail Insider. Experience a new level of luxury on Topsail Island at Saltwater Suites in Surf City, North Carolina. With no nightly minimum, you can enjoy short getaways or an extended stay. Each suite features luxury bedding, full kitchens with dining tables and dishwashers. And all suites other than the 3 ADA suites have full-size washers and dryers. And don't forget about those beautiful ocean views. 24/7 self-check-in provides a hassle-free and seamless experience. Saltwater Suites is the perfect choice for your next beach getaway. Book your next Topsail visit at saltwatertopsail.com or call 910-886-4818. Saltwater Suites, Topsail Island's premier luxury hospitality experience. Come on out to Surf City Line for the best made-from-scratch beach and bowls on Topsail Island. Treat yourself to their delicious bowls with shrimp, steak, fish, chicken, or pork. Or enjoy their peel-and-eat shrimp, beach break salads, and more. They offer a full bar serving handcrafted cocktails, incredible margaritas, and they proudly serve North Carolina craft beer. The Line boasts the biggest deck on the island with 3 levels for listening to live music, relaxing in the sun, or head on up to the top deck to enjoy your meal with ocean views. Visit surfcitylinenc.com for their full menus. The best service and beach vibes on the island await you at 2112 North New River Drive. Whether you're a local or visiting from out of town, celebrating a special occasion, or just soaking up the sun with family and friends, it's always a great time at Surf City Line. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Topsail Insider Podcast. My name is Krista, and I am your host. Today, I am interviewing two lovely ladies, Miss Laurette Gordon. She is the Executive Director of the Missiles and More Museum, and Miss Cindy Scaparrotti. She is the President of the Historical Society of Topsail Island. Both entities are housed in the Historical Assembly Building, located on the south end of the island, at 720 Channel Boulevard in Topsail Beach, North Carolina. Welcome, Laurette. Welcome, Cindy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, thank you for having us.
So when we think of Topsail Island, we think about playing and sunning on the beach and surfing and fishing and all the sea turtle nests that we have here. What we don't think about, and most probably don't even know about, is the history of the island during World War II. So let's start out with a little history lesson. Laurette, would you mind giving me a brief history of the Assembly Building, when and why it was built and what it was used for?
Sure. It was close to the end of World War II in 1946, and the Germans were showing their hand with little anti-aircraft missiles, and we needed to up our game. Camp Davis was in Holly Ridge, and they were an anti-aircraft training center. The Operation Bumblebee was an invention of the U.S. Navy secret guided missile testing program that operated on the Topsail Island. That was there from 1946 to 1948. To get that program together, they had to build a missile creation, shall we say, building. That's why it's called the Assembly Building. They assembled missiles in that building. When I first moved down there, I thought it was for the assembly of people, like a meeting room.
Yeah, I think I did too, actually, now that you mentioned it.
It's one of the things we tell people when they come. This is the assembling of missiles. That's what the building was used for.
Wow.
So it was created for that specific purpose. So we didn't have any explosions, and there's very thick walls. And you'll see all this when you come to the museum. We have copper areas on the floor that you can see so that there's no static electricity going on. Because, you don't want to explode.
No, so I certainly did not know about the history of the island at all. I moved here in 2015 and I did go on the beach and I saw the towers and I always what are those towers for? And no one seemed to have an answer, but now I understand it.
There's a lot of false answers out there too.
Tell us what it really is for.
You had missiles that they created. They were practicing getting them going straight, getting them going fast, getting them to where they wanted them to go. So they built observation towers. They built a control tower. They built observation towers. So they were manned with equipment, electronics of some sort, whatever was available in 1946. And they watched and they recorded on how that missile went. Dang. There were 8 of them, and now there's 7 of them. They're mostly privately owned properties.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's one you probably wouldn't even know that it's a tower that's turned into a house in Surf City. There's another one that people refer to as the HGTV one, which looks like a fancy house made out of one. And that's right in Topsail Beach. We have documentation. We have nice pictures of them all. And we have takeaways that people can take home.
You have pictures of them when they were actually serving their purpose?
There has to be a few pictures in our area where the Bumblebee Project, all the photos that we have, where we have videos of them putting a missile together and shooting it off the launching pad.
Yeah.
So we have lots of neat photos from the 50s.
And Cindy, tell me, how did that building go from assembling missiles to what it is today?
There was a group of concerned citizens that decided it's a historic assembly building and they wanted to preserve it. So they purchased it in 1995. And that's the same year, later that year, is when we opened the Missiles and More Museum in that building also. Our historical society had been formed in 84 and then incorporated in 85. So they were the ones that started the Missiles and More Museum.
Do you know what the building was used for between the end of World War II and when the folks became interested in preserving that building?
Yeah, building supply, some restaurants and a bar. There was a mini mall in there. I understand that the restaurants and the bar were a lot of fun, a lot of dancing going on at the bar.
Okay, so Laurette, how did you get involved with the Missiles and More Museum?
I retired in July of 2022, and then I met somebody in April of 23 who asked if I was looking for work, and it was explained to me about the museum. I'd been in the museum only once, and they needed a cashier. Part-time work, I'm retired, it's only a mile from my house. I thought, hey, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So I started as a cashier. You really fell in love with working in the little, as a little girl, you like little stores, and I had a little store.
Yeah.
And then they needed a director, and I became the director July of 2023.
You don't have a history of history. You didn't go to school to become a historian. You kind of fell into this as just something
post-retirement. I've not been in the museum world, but I'm learning. I've talked to a textile conservator with the North Carolina museums, so I've learned how to work with the textiles that we have. We have uniforms that need help, and just keep the place clean and keep it neat and tidy and put things in that'll attract people and smile.
You enjoy it?
I do. I like the people.
Yeah.
I like the people a lot. As a director, I don't get with the people as much, but we have a cashier because they had to hire somebody to take my place. And she's great with them, great with children, great with anybody.
So how long did it take you to acquire all this information? Do you act as a docent there as well?
I do not. I have to train the docents. I have to listen, maybe sub in if I have to. But you just learn from osmosis.
Yeah.
You just go around and read. You try to absorb, make sure there's not duplicates of things. So you're learning. It doesn't take much.
You've been there for about 2 years?
Yeah.
2 years. Okay.
It doesn't take much to just absorb it all.
And Cindy, what about you? How long have you been involved with the Historical Society?
We retired. My husband retired, and we moved full-time to the island in 19. And then just looking for something to do and got involved. First, actually going to luncheons that you'll hear about later, going to activities that the Historical Society provides. And then started volunteering at our Autumn with Topsail, which we'll also talk about later.
Yes.
Then I was invited to join the board, and I've been on the board for about 2 years. So, yeah.
So what I'm learning is that when people come here to retire, they always end up going back to work. You ladies are not the first two that have said this to me.
Well, you can't sit around and do nothing. First of all,
I don't know. I feel like I could, Laurette.
No. Well, you find something that you enjoy and do it part-time.
Yeah.
Is so much better than full-time, first of all.
Yeah.
So you could still be partially retired, but there's a lot of opportunities. And volunteering we get people from all walks of life that volunteer to be docents. and they really enjoy it.
That's so cool.
I enjoy them, meeting them and getting to know them.
So now we're going to talk about the exhibits that you have at the Missiles and More Museum. The museum is closed during the winter, but you reopened March 1st. You have wonderful exhibits available to the public and one new exhibit you've been working on that's opening Saturday, April 20th. I would love to just run down a list of those exhibits, Laurette. Can you tell me a little bit about each one?
Sure. But we start off with the fact that we are a barrier island, and it's 26 miles long, and how it moves from the north to the south. We're losing sand at the north end, gaining sand on the south end.
I had no idea about that until you told me during the pre-interview. I was pretty shocked.
That's why you're not really supposed to build on it. So we kind of depict that. This is just the beginning of the museum, and everybody's like wide-eyed, and they have so much more to see. And we talk about the flora and the fauna. We've got photos of both. We've got a lot of nice pictures. We actually have an interactive board where children can pick out the birds and push the button and it lights up. They have fun with that. The natural history of the island, where the Native Americans, there's some evidence that they were around, they were on the island. We don't have evidence that they were living on the island, but we do have a dugout canoe that was found, and has been certified as being at least a couple hundred years old.
Do you know where it was found? Was it Soundside? Where was it?
It was found in the marsh near where Sears Landing is. I actually know the person who found it. He's a friend of my son's, and I just met him. His name's Travis. He was just digging around. He was a kid, 12 years old.
Just recently. 12 years old?
He was 12.
Oh, what a wonderful thing to have under your belt. Like, I go around
12.
finding artifacts. No big deal. This is 12.
Yeah. It was was it 1979 he found it? We also have a really neat display of arrowheads. It's not something I ever went digging in creeks to find, and I'm just amazed. And now I look at creeks and riverbeds differently. I want to get in there, but the water's cold, but I want to get in there. They show you how an arrowhead was formed out of the quartz rocks. So we have these really beautiful stones you find on our beach, on our sandy beach, but they're left over from the Piedmont River basins, which was news to me also when I started learning everything. Those beautiful, shiny quartz rocks, well, the Indians could make them into arrowheads. Mm-hmm. You can see the evolution of how they were made. And there's also pottery shards in that display. Then you walk down the little hallway a little bit, and you're going to find our pirate display. There was what they called the Golden Age of Piracy, 1630 to 1720. The Golden Age, the pirates were plundering all the merchant ships. And how the island got its name, there is a little bit of a legend. I don't know if it's real factual, but it sure as heck sounds factual.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
You have, on one side of the island is the Intracoastal Waterway. At that time, it was just called an inlet, I believe. And then you have the ocean on the other side. So you had the merchants out in the ocean, and they knew there could be pirates around. So they looked right over the island. They couldn't do that right now because of all the buildings,
all the houses,
right?
Yeah.
But they could see the top sail of a ship. And somebody actually told me they're actually called topsails.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. So, you knew I was.
Yeah, so the merchants would go, topsail, topsail. And they say that's how we got our name, because they would yell topsail to warn who's ever driving the ship to move away before the pirates come out and get them. We do have a little store. We call it our Pirates Corner, or Pirate Cove. And it's got nice little gifting items for children. A lot of grandparents will come in and buy things for their children, but the children really catch their eye. We do keep it to the end of the museum.
So they have to see everything before they hit it?
Yeah. We've got swords. We've got little finger puppets. We have an area where there's a goodie bag, and they can fill the goodie bag for $5.
What kind of items can they put in the goodie bag?
Oh, gems, gold coins, dog tag necklaces.
Those are some of my kids' favorite things.
Uh-huh. That's why we did it. And it's so cute to watch the children fill the bag with every gem that they want. The Golden Age of Piracy, as I said, were those years. And, think about what was going on in those 50 years or so. There were ships coming from Europe bringing very rich items here. And then we had things coming from the West Indies, or maybe from the United States. They weren't the United States back then, but they were rich as tobacco. They would be going over to Europe. So they knew that these merchant ships had great goods on them. And you had poor seamen, poor farmers maybe, and they'd get joined up with the pirates. If you learn anything about pirates, they were pretty diplomatic in their ways, where they divvied up the monies evenly. You go there, you have a better way of living than they could live a better life, fun, crazy. The pirates looked like they were having fun, right? We have some Blackbeard history, which is very popular. Then we have our Raiders and Runners exhibit, which just opened in 2023. We have a video display where you can just choose which video you want to watch. And we have a Civil War uniform. We have the whole timeline of what was the Raiders and Runners about.
What are the Raiders and Runners?
It's the story of both the Union and the Confederate operations on and around the island. The blockade runners were to stop the South from getting salt to use to preserve their food. There were a lot of salt mines in the area. The North didn't want the salt to gain any goods to live. They wanted to stop them.
So blockade runners, they were the North, and they were trying to stop the South from getting salt to use
Correct.
for any benefits that salt provides, mostly preserving food. Tell me about Camp Davis.
Camp Davis was built in Holly Ridge, what we know today as the Holly Ridge area. Camp Davis comes in and they build 996 buildings. Thousands and thousands of people had moved in after that because they had their anti-aircraft training going on there. They do all that and then they take it all back down after a couple of years.
So it's just for World War II.
Yes.
It had to do with the missiles?
Anti-aircraft training.
Okay.
We do have a uniform from a soldier that was based there. We have a neat little love letter he wrote as Honey. It's on display. We have it in a glass enclosure. We have his gym bag. I just put his dog tags on it. In another case, we have paraphernalia from the base. We have a Thanksgiving menu from Camp Davis. Everything's really cool because you're seeing pictures of the soldiers because photography was pretty popular then. So we've got yearbooks. There's Lucky Strike cigarettes, carton little containers, and there's shell casings. There's hats. People will donate to us.
I was going to ask you, where are you getting these from?
You know, you have somebody's going through somebody's attic, or maybe grandpa died and he was there, and they'll call and can you use this? If he was based in Camp Davis, we will probably give it a strong consideration. Or if he had something to do at Topsail Island. We try to keep our history local, so it means something to us. Along with all that, though, we also have a really neat display on the wasps.
Explain what the wasps are.
Oh, they're not little bugs that fly. They're Women's Air Force service pilots that trained at Camp Davis in Holly Ridge. I think a lot of people are more aware of this ever since President Obama signed into Congress, I believe, the bill to allow them to be buried as a soldier, to allow them to maybe receive funds. They wouldn't fly them home. Families had to pay for that.
Oh, wow.
So they've gone back and made that wrong a right. The neat story on the wasps, they, of course, were the women. So they flew the planes around to help move planes around, but they also flew targets for missile practice. They had the plane and the target was trailing, and then the guys would shoot off their missile.
And you just hope they didn't hit the plane.
Oh my gosh. Who signs up for that?
Very brave women.
We now have a bomber jacket and a regular dress Navy jacket and a few other items from a local WASP who passed away recently that we're adding to our exhibit probably in maybe 3 months. So before the summer's over.
Someone who lived here and was a part of that.
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
It's just so cool to even look at it. So along with the Bumblebee project that we talked about already, so you had the Army at Camp Davis, and the Navy created the secret mission of the Bumblebee project with the guided missiles, the test program from 46 to 48. Camp Davis was no longer needed. So they dismantled, and I don't know if the guys got to go home or not, but it was the end of the war. So they probably did. Johns Hopkins was involved. Their lab worked in concert with the Navy to build a jet engine to create an anti-aircraft missile. The Germans were ahead of us. As I said earlier, the government took over the island. There was a pontoon bridge, brought people over to the Topsail Island to help, and of course, all the soldiers to assemble the missiles. The pontoon bridge is just interesting to see. It's just like a floating thing that would go up and down with the tide. And
you have photos of that in the museum as well?
We do have a photo of that. And one of the stories in one of the books that we sell speaks of the time when there was still the pontoon bridge. They didn't have the swing bridge yet. And the island was getting repopulated. And there was children that went to school. The school bus went over to the island on the pontoon bridge.
Really?
The Jolly Roger Hotel is basically straight.
It would be east.
Just go to the ocean from the building. That's the best way to say it. And the Jolly Roger Hotel is there. And the reason I'm mentioning that is it was that proximity from where the assembly building is. That was where the launch pad was for the missiles. And today it is a concrete pad that's part of their patio. When they launched missiles, they had to assemble them at the assembly building. And the video we show, you got the military guys, and to us, they're just young kids now, but they're putting together this wooden staging thing that they launched the missile off on. Then, if the wind was too much, then it started raining. Okay, we got to take it all back apart, put it back away. So it could take a couple days before they get to actually launch a missile.
Yeah.
So over the course of the time that this project went on, 200 missiles went off.
Over the course of how many years, do you know?
It was just 2 years.
2 years.
And those missiles were 3 inches to 3 feet long and 3 inches to 3 feet wide. We have a few samples at the museum hanging.
You do?
We don't have a small one, but we have a bisected one so you can see what the inside looked like. We have a few hanging from the ceiling. We actually have one in an aquarium tank that was found in the ocean. And to keep it the way it is with that concretion kind of things on it and barnacles on it, we keep it in the saltwater aquarium. The Osprey aircraft brings you up pretty much up to date. If you're just coming into the area, you might not see one, but while you're visiting the island, it is likely you will see our military flying overhead. The Ospreys, they look like a cross between a plane and a helicopter.
Oh, yeah. We see them all the time here.
We have a little model of one. We've got lots of video of them taking off. We have lots of photos, just history on the Osprey. The design and production of the V-22, the first tilt rotor aircraft and used by all 4 U.S. military branches that were tested at the New River Air Station. And like I said, they do fly over. It's pretty cool to see. We have a kiosk in the Bumblebee area where you can sit comfortably and watch at least 8 videos, working on maybe adding a few. And they show what it was like back then. It's just really, it's interesting. I love to watch people's faces while they watch it. Like, wow, we have to leave when?
Let's talk about the new exhibit. Again, it's opening Saturday, April 20th at a special open house from 3 to 5 p.m. where you can meet your Ocean City neighbors.
Historic Ocean City Beach. It was really an audacious undertaking during that time. Here it was after desegregation. However, it was still pretty tough on the African-American citizen to enjoy things that white people were enjoying, such as going to the beach or maybe living on the beach. And that just wasn't something that happened then. So there was a lawyer. He was a former mayor of Wilmington, Edward Yao. He bought 6 miles of property on Topsail Beach, Topsail Island, not Topsail Beach. It was in today's world, it's North Topsail Beach. And he spoke with an African-American associate who was a doctor, Dr. Gray. And Dr. Gray says, check with Wade Chestnut. I think he might be pretty interested in this. And Wade Chestnut had a family of brothers, and he had a auto business. And he liked this whole idea of being able to branch out, do something more. Is it really legal? They were very tentative on this.
Yeah.
So they bought a mile of tracks from Edward Yao. And that became one of the first biracial corporations that was formed.
All right.
And this is the first time that African Americans could own property.
Edward Yao was
on the coast,
the mayor, you said, of Wilmington.
Years ago.
How did he get the 6 miles of beach? You said after the war, a lot of the land that was used for the military was given back to all the people that had it prior.
Yes.
Did he had that property prior?
He did not. What happened was the island was just becoming developed, and they were selling property, tracts of property. And Edward Yao became aware.
And he had the means to do it.
He did, obviously.
Okay.
And probably back then, of course, it was probably a few $1,000s.
Yes.
Because the lots that they sold in that 1 mile stretch of Ocean City Beach were only $100 for not right on the beach, $500 for on the beach. And these African Americans, they had the money to do it, but they were a little hesitant because is this legal? Can we really do this? Once it got started, and that was the Chestnuts who started it all. And they brought people in, their buddies in, and said, hey, we can do this. And I'll prove that to you. Buy the land or come see what I've built. I built my house. And then they built a restaurant and a fishing pier. And it soon became 50 to 100 houses.
Wow.
And then Hurricane Fran came. The Ocean City Beach Council is still intact today. You may have heard of the Jazz Festival.
Yes, I'm going to do an interview with the folks that lead the Jazz Festival.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's right in the heart of Ocean City Beach. Today, it is on the African American Heritage Trail, and there's a marker for that at the chapel that is located right in the heart of the Ocean City Beach stretch. The marker and their memorial walk has bricks with names on them. That's really interesting to look at. And then the remains of the tower, which would be called by us today the Bumblebee Tower 6, is on the dune. Now there's new construction next to it. However, it's quite neat to just look at that and realize that was once had a restaurant, had a big fishing pier, the first fishing pier that any people of color,
how about that?
Anybody of color,
yeah,
could go on and loved it. They loved
Wow.
it. I've talked to the president of the Ocean City Beach Council, Carla Torrey. She told me how it was just fantastic just to go out on the ocean and say, here I am, and look over there, and there's the white beach, and there's the white beach, and this is my plot of ground right here.
Yeah.
So they had a good old time.
What type of items do you have in the exhibit?
We have a lot of photos. We have newspaper articles. Basically, that's it. A lot of photos and a lot of history. We're trying to depict the time frame of what it looked like just to be average citizens living in a house, having fun, going fishing, going in the water and playing, and just historical facts of what was going on in our country at that time, what happened before that time that made it maybe that they were hesitant in trying to buy property because life wasn't so great. The Black history in the area. We're trying to depict that. And now how they have their jazz festival up until we're, okay, we lost the fishing pier, but now we have our jazz festival.
Right.
We have our memorial chapel.
I think it's a wonderful addition. You said you're trying to archive and catalog the museum.
Yeah, it's something that needed to be done. One of our former directors did put a little bit of effort into that, but we found somebody who's volunteering his time that just adores doing this. And I thank God for Wayne because it's not something I would really want to do. But he is a great photographer and the bits of pieces of information. We need it for insurance. We need it for future.
Gotcha.
God forbid we have something tragic that happens and our building is taken away. We will have really good proof that we were there.
Yeah.
And we could go on the web with it. We can do a monthly showing of whatever.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
It'll be great for the future. We're getting it together. We've been working on it since January. It's a good effort. And then there's the shells that we have. We have over 500, I know, because Wayne had to take pictures of them.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Wayne.
And they are displayed beautifully. Along with that, there's a megalodon tooth, which the kids all want to see that.
Yes,
a lot of adults want to see that too. The shell collection comes from all over the world. It was donated to us, and there are dates on the shells that are in the 1700s. It's a little deceiving in the fact that they were shells that were discovered and scientifically notated in that year. Wasn't that the shell was found in 1702. That was maybe when that particular shell variety was discovered and written down, and we have those shells and we have the scientific names for them. So somebody who's into that would be well into it, but reading the scientific names as well as just looking at them and the beauty of them.
So let's go ahead and jump back to the Historical Society, Cindy, and talk about its mission and the services that are offered to the community through the Historical Society of Topsail Island.
As I mentioned earlier, Historical Society was formed in 1984 and then incorporated in 1985. And our mission is to collect, preserve, and promote the history of the greater Topsail area. So we've been doing that for almost 40 years now. And we started with the restoration of the Assembly Building and the museum, in which the building itself we now use as an event venue. And it houses, like I said, does house the museum. Not only do we have our own events there, but we also rent out the building too, which we'll discuss that later. But the mission is to collect, preserve, and promote the history. And we do a lot of that by not only the museum, but education. We do have some scholarships that we give out. We support education strongly. So we have scholarships every year that for graduating seniors that are within the Dixon and Topsail high school areas. That includes those that are homeschooled or in early college also. But we do that every year, and we're about ready to do that in April at our luncheon. We had 12 applicants this year, and we picked 4 winners, and they will come into our April luncheon and provide a slideshow of their project. Their essay has to be something about Pender County, Onslow County, this area.
Gotcha. That makes sense. How do you put out the notification so that people know when to apply?
So it's always on our website. And then we also go to the 2 schools and give all the information to the guidance counselors.
Okay.
So then they have it too. They will disseminate that information to all the students that would qualify, those graduating seniors. And they also need to have a GPA of 2.5 or greater. We're just excited that as far as the scholarships that we're able to do that, give kids a head start on their college.
So let's talk about the luncheon lectures.
Yeah, the luncheon lectures. We do those every September through May. And what it is, we'll have a guest speaker. It could be from the area or they could be outside the area, but the subject matter, we always strive for something local subject matter. Like we've had Camp Davis, we've had a WASP lecture, And we did have a lecture on Amelia Earhart, but we do try to always have something that's local. And so we'll have a lecture and then we'll have a lunch. And it's always held at the Assembly Building.
How much does that cost?
Right now, this year, it's been $17 for that. I don't know what next year's going to be, but this year's been $17.
Do you pay when you get there, or do you have to register?
You do need to register ahead, but you pay at the door.
Tell me about the aquarium program.
It's presented by the North Carolina Aquarium at Fort Fisher Outreach. And so what they'll do, and it's sponsored by the town of Topsail Beach. They'll come Wednesday afternoon starting June 26th through the summer. It's free, and it's wonderful. They'll come and bring items from the aquarium for the children. Mostly children want to come and see that. Also, with the aquarium program, another summer program we have is our Turtle Talks, and that's done by the Topsail Turtle Project, and that's through the Karen Beasley Sea Turtle Rehab and Rescue Center, and that's on Monday mornings, and that's always held outside our building. The aquarium program is inside. And then we just provide the space for both of those. They're both free. And it's something for those locals, or we have a lot of return visitors that come every summer to the beach that they always say, hey, I've done this program every year, and they tend to really enjoy it. So both of the programs, so they're well attended.
So those are summer programs. The luncheon lectures, you stop that during the summer?
We just do that September through May. May is our last one.
Now, another big thing that seems to be pretty popular is your bingo.
It is very popular.
Tell me about bingo.
Bingo is every Thursday night during the summer. So it's going to start this year, June 13th. It's very well attended. It's family fun. There's the first half an hour is geared towards the kids, and the kids will come, they'll do that. And then a lot of them stay with their parents to stay the rest of the evening and play. My grandkids came and were here this past summer for a few weeks, and they loved it. But it's wonderful. Everything's sold right there. We have the special ink doppers, and there's snacks there also. And you just come in and you can buy as many games as you want and such.
We have a large following.
We do have a large following. And some people come, like I said, some people that come every year, and they'll come up, do you remember me from last year? I was here last year. And they're coming back. And we've had some evenings that we've had to close the doors.
Really?
Because we've had so many, we just couldn't fit anymore. Of course,
it's nice, good, clean family fun.
It is.
I saw pictures online, and it was packed. It was a packed house. The tables were full. Is it all cash prizes, or you have other things there?
No, it's cash.
It's all cash.
Prizes.
Okay. I really do want to hear about the walking tour. The walking tour is changing, right?
It's changing just as that we're going to start offering it once a month. So it's called a historic top secret walking tour.
That is
Topsail
the top
Beach.
secret walking tour. Okay, okay.
The historical top secret walking tour. We're going to start offering a guided tour once a month on a Saturday. That'll be on the website when we start that. And I imagine that'll start this summer. It's definitely a self-guided tour also, because we have rack cards at the museum, which have the QR code that you just scan that, and it takes you right to pocket sites. And then everything's on there. It'll explain, tell you which stop to make and what's at each stop.
Have you done it?
Yes, I have.
I haven't yet.
I have. I've done the guided one. I did that with Anne. We have a wonderful member of our board that likes to do the guided tours. Well, it will take people, and she does a great job. So I think she's going to be our one to give the guiding tour the once a month.
She'll do it one run each month.
But the rest of the time, it's self-guided. You can do it on your own.
You're walking, and it's about 1 mile.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how far is that walk?
It's just 1 mile. It's stroller-friendly, walking-friendly. It's just around the town of Topsail Beach, pointing out different things.
Somebody in a wheelchair be easy?
Yes.
How about that? That's great. Yeah. So you got the rack cards. You can scan the QR code. You can go. It takes you to Pocket Sites on your phone. That's an app, I'm assuming.
Yes, it is.
And it just tells you where to go and about what you're seeing as you go along the way. That's great.
It does. I know. It's a great tool that we have.
And that is the top secret historic walk. Love that. What about there's the Ghost Walk as well?
Yes, the Ghost Walk of Pender's Past. That's in October. Goes with Halloween, I guess. It's in October. It's sponsored by the Burgaw Tourism and Development Authority and the town of Burgaw.
It's in Burgaw.
It is in Burgaw.
Okay.
It's at their cemetery. So it's a historical tour of their cemetery. And they'll have various volunteers that will dress up And this past year, we had a couple of our members that dressed up as a pirate in a winch.
They're playing parts. They
play
like
parts.
Mini scenes, right?
They do. They get within that tour of this mini scenes and their parts. So they were dressed. They looked real. I was like, oh. But we partner with some other Pender County organizations to do that with the Development Authority and the town of Burgaw.
Okay.
So it's sold out this past year, and I understand that's not unusual.
The Ghost Walk sold out?
So all the information would be on our website, and then also the Burgaw Tourism and Development Authority will have it, and the town will have it on their website too, and explain how to buy the tickets.
Hey, if you thought it couldn't get any better than Saltwater Suites, well, I have some exciting news. I am thrilled to announce the grand opening of the new Saltwater Resort this May in the heart of Surf City, North Carolina. Saltwater Resort will absolutely redefine hospitality, creating a truly elevated vacation experience. All 24 suites offer opulent bedding, full-size washers and dryers, and well-appointed kitchens equipped with dining tables and dishwashers. And now you can relax and enjoy their beautiful saltwater pool. Are you ready to elevate your next Topsail adventure? Reserve your stay at saltwatertopsail.com or call 910-886-4818. Saltwater Resort, where luxury meets the waves and every moment is a celebration. Hey Insiders, if you haven't tried Surf City Line, what are you waiting for? Chef Jay has created amazing made-from-scratch beach-in bowls, delicious peel-and-eat shrimp by the pound, wings, salads, and more. And they have a wonderful multi-level deck for listening to live music, soaking up the sun, and enjoying food, drinks, and some of the best service on Topsail Island. Follow Surf City Line on Facebook and Instagram, where you'll find their lineup for all of their live entertainment. Feel like walking off that delicious food before heading home? Well, take their walkway right to the ocean for a quick stroll on the beach. They have plenty of parking right next to the restaurant and a large lot across the street. They're located at 2112 North New River Drive, where Surf City meets North Topsail. I'll see you at Surf City Line. All right, so the Jingle Ball is a pretty big deal for the Historical Society, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It sells out every year, and it's usually the first Saturday of December that gets you in the mood right away in the beginning of December. It's an adult event, formal, although we've seen military mess dress, we've seen tux, we've seen just a jacket and a tie, and there's probably been those without jackets. I'm not
Loosely
sure.
formal.
Like an evening dress and a jacket.
But some people have evening gowns, the women do. Some wear a cocktail dress. I've worn both. I've seen really dressy pants outfits. So it's a night of dinner, dancing. So we have a DJ, and there's always appetizers and drinks. It's all included in the fee. And you can buy a table of 10 and have your friends all come, or you can go individually. A lot of people will buy a table, but it's just the group that does this, the committee, just makes it a beautiful event. It's just decorated so nice, and just the whole evening is just so much fun. We've done it every year we've lived here that they've had it, and even once before we lived here permanently. It's a lot of fun, and we do it at the Assembly Building.
Would you say that is your biggest fundraiser for the year?
No, actually, Autumn with Topsail.
Autumn with Topsail is our biggest moneymaker.
Oh yeah, by far.
Okay.
It's our biggest money raiser. It does quite well for us, which is good because running an organization like this and keeping up the building is quite expensive. So, and I understand you're going to have a time that you're going to speak with our chairman of our committee, Autumn with Topsail.
So, Laurette, that's your husband, correct? So I already did have a brief conversation with Laurette's husband. His name is Steve Gordon. I will be interviewing him like mid to late summer so that we can get the word out about Autumn with Topsail, although it is already one of the biggest local events that we have here in the area. I did not realize that it was actually attached to the Historical Society. I didn't know. But everyone loves Autumn with Topsail. And I am absolutely happy that I get to interview Steve this year. Let's go ahead and tell everyone the dates of Autumn with Topsail.
The dates this year, October 18th, 19th, and 20th. And just a quick, if people don't know what it is, it's a big festival that's held on the island, on our grounds and surrounding area there by the Assembly Building. And we'll have arts and crafts, court. There's live bands, which brings a lot of people in. There's lots of food trucks, beer and wine tent, inflatables for the children. If you've not gone, you need to go one day. It's so much fun. Silent auction. Yeah, it's just and
we do have it. We do have an entrance fee.
Yes, there is an entrance fee.
Do you know what that's going to be this year yet?
I don't.
You don't know yet?
I don't.
Okay. So once you pay that entry fee, everything else inside is...
There's no other fees. Of course, if you want to eat food, you have to pay for food.
Purchase anything. But the bands, that's all included and in there, that music.
We do get the crowds.
Okay.
The bands are always great. They're always the popular bands that are in the area. And you can see it all on the website.
Yeah, we've already, as soon as they perform the one year, they're signed up for the next.
Are they really?
Because they're that much in demand.
So October 18th, 19th, and 20th, that is the Autumn with Topsail. Now let's go back. Cindy, you said you can rent the Assembly Building for your own events.
Yes.
What type of events are being held there?
Weddings, mostly. It seems like there are a lot of weddings, parties, meetings. We can take up to 250 people max. That's what the fire department has
that's a lot. That's
us.
a big party, though.
That's a big party. The building itself is 3,300 square foot, and that's not including the museum.
The museum.
So that is the rentable part. You can rent different parts of the Assembly Building. You don't have to rent the whole thing, the whole main room. So we have other sections you can rent. There is a catering kitchen. There's an outdoor patio by the water so that we've had weddings out there. So they'll do their wedding out there and then come in and have the reception.
This is Intracoastal side.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so we have a great event scheduler that schedules all this for us. We just finished our new thing that we finished as a bridal room. So we've made a bridal room where the bride can get dressed up and get ready for the event. Because some weddings will be inside, some will be outside, some will be over at the beach. And then they'll usually use our facility for the reception. Stella is a contact. She's our event scheduler. You can find her on the website. And she's wonderful to work with.
Okay, lastly, I want to review the hours of operations and the prices. So for the museum, Laurette, what can you tell me about the hours and the fees to visit the museum?
We have the best fees in the area. We're free.
Love that.
We gladly accept donations, and it's according to however much you feel like you can give, or if not, you don't. That's all. It's free. We have a high season, and we have an off season, and then the winter season, right? Winter, we're mostly closed. We're closed from December, January, and February. And we start opening March 1, and we're only open from Wednesday to Friday from 1 to 3. We changed our hours a little bit this year. In April, we're going to be open 11 to 3, and all of May, except up until Memorial Day, 11 to 3. So we're stretching our hours a little bit just to see if we can get more people in the area. And then after Memorial Day, Monday through Friday, 10 to 3. And we are going to start opening on one Saturday a month for June, July, and August, and September. And that's going to be from 10 to 3. And that's really to bring in the locals. We know that the tourists are traveling back and forth those days. Usually they can't come, but the locals can't seem to come because they're busy with their businesses and the tourists, or the kids are in school, or something's going on, kind of trying to make a time frame where they can come, or the tourists. Of course, we welcome anybody, but the first Saturday of the month from 10 to 3. Then we're open that full-time hours, Monday through Friday, 10 to 3, right through Labor Day. We are closed. And in October, we start with Wednesday through Friday, 1 to 3. We're closed at the week of Autumn with Topsail. There's just too much setup going on.
That makes sense.
And then we're open Wednesday to Friday right up until Thanksgiving week. Starting Thanksgiving week, we are closed for the holiday and closed for the winter. Children who come who can't read yet, just to be aware for the parents, there's a bit of reading that you have to do. It's going to be much more enjoyable if the children are read to if they can't read. We have a scavenger hunt, and it's also free. It's a questionnaire that the kids have to fill out, or the teens or the adults have to fill out as they go around through the museum and find the bits and pieces and just write them down. And there might be a little goodie at the end for a child if they complete it. And if not, they get an attaboy, and they might even get a goodie anyway. When we close at the time frame that we do close at 3:00, every time that we are open, we don't close until like 5 of 3. We don't stay open for anybody to see the whole museum at that time. But if somebody wants to run in and buy something or say, okay, I'll be back tomorrow, that's great. So we welcome our full time. We do accept church and school groups, but it would be nice to have a forewarning because we are a small museum. Especially during our busy times. In the summertime, you will have quite a few people in the museum at one time if you bring a school children of 20 kids. And it's great that they're there and they're happy and having fun, but there can be a lot of noise along with. So we might encourage them to come early in our time frame or we might open earlier for them. So if they could call ahead, that would be a great warning.
So the Historical Society offers memberships as a way to pay for all the things that have to happen.
Yes.
Cindy, what are the benefits of becoming a member of the Historical Society, and what are the different levels of memberships?
By becoming a member of the Historical Society, you're supporting what we do. Your membership funds will go to operating expenses for the assembly building, for the museum and the exhibits there, the annual scholarship program, any educational outreach we do, the monthly luncheon and lecture series. Becoming a member really allows us to do all that, along with the donations that we receive. And then also, if you are a member of the Historical Society, you will get a discount for any of the rentals. If you decide you want to rent the building for any function at all, you will receive a discount for that. The different levels, we have the Scotch Bonnet level, which is an individual membership, and that's $30 for the year.
That's very reasonable.
It is. And the Pirate level is $50. That's a family membership. And then we have the Talos Missile level, which is $150. And that's corporate or just a number of people just say, hey, I just want to really support. And they give that $150 to support our organization.
How do we donate or become a member?
Right now, if you come to one of our events, we can give you a membership application and help you with that. And also online, if you go to our website, which I know you're going to give out the website later. If you go to our website, you can donate there, become a member there, just find out all kinds of good information. That website's
come to
full.
The museum.
Or you come to, I'm sorry, Laurette. Yes, you come to the museum and Laurette would be happy to help you with any of that.
We have forms.
You do have to have a lot of volunteers for these hours of operation and such. How can folks learn more about and sign up to become a volunteer, either at the museum or the Historical Society?
We love volunteers. You're right. We do need a lot of volunteers to do everything we do. You can sign up online if you'd like. At our website, there's an option to do that. You can also come into the museum. Anybody there can help you with that. We have a number of volunteer positions, museum docents, various committees that we have, like luncheon committee, education committee, Jingle Ball, bingo, Autumn with Topsail needs a lot of volunteers. So if anybody has a talent that you want to offer, we're happy to hear it, and we'd love to have you join our team. You can, like I said, go to the website and you can get all the information there. I know you fill out a little form that tells us what you're interested in, and somebody will contact you on that.
We have come to the end of the podcast. I like to finish every episode with something that I call final thoughts. And it's just your chance to give like the final takeaway for the listeners. So you can just tell us just the one thing that you want the listeners to know about you personally, or the Historical Society, or the Missiles and More Museum. Who wants to go first? Listeners, they both looked at each other. Nah.
I'll go.
Thank you, Laurette.
I'd like the takeaway to be that we are an extremely welcoming museum. You come, you're going to have fun. You're going to learn something that you didn't know. Even if you say, oh, military, I know it all. Nope, you're going to learn something you didn't know. And you're going to be so surprised at how much information we have. The kids are going to love it. The older folks are going to love it. Just go with that intention in mind that it might just be fun.
Yeah.
It's a museum. No, it's going to be fun. and we're going to make you have fun. No.
You will have fun.
Yes. I like to do that, to make sure that if something's too loud, we keep you comfortable.
Very good. What about you, Cindy?
I'd like everyone to know it's a great organization. The Historical Society really strives to do our best to fulfill our mission. And we just do a lot of things that we hope that people enjoy and can learn from. And we would love people to be a part of that. We'd love to have more people and give us some ideas, too, of what more we can do that would be of interest for you.
So I learned a lot. I didn't know much about either entity, to be honest with you. I had seen the building when I went down there, just touring around a little bit. But it is so nice to get in here and sit down with y'all and learn everything that you offer. You have, it sounds like a wonderful museum with a lot of great exhibits, and I can't wait to get in there with my boys. And the functions that you're having, the bingo.
Well, you've got to come.
I really want to hit the bingo.
Yeah, we have fun. We make that fun too. I play cashier there.
Oh, you do? I was like, I think I'll volunteer for that one. That would be fun. But it's time to give out that contact information. The contact information, the websites, it is missilsandmoremuseum.org and topsailhistoricalsociety.org. Their address, again, is 720 Channel Boulevard. That's in Topsail Beach, North Carolina. It's the south end of the island, 28445. And their phone number there is 910-328-8663. And I do want to talk about the donations for just a second. You can make donations by visiting either the website and clicking on their donate page, or you can donate by making a check to the Historical Society of Topsail Island. You can make those checks payable to Historical Society of Topsail Island, attention donations, and you can mail that to P.O. Box 3653, Topsail Beach, North Carolina, 28445. And I will have all of this information for you in my show notes, along with any links that are clickable for easy access. And that will also cover their Facebook site. So there's a Facebook site for Historical Society of Topsail Island. Did I leave out anything, ladies?
I will mention it. There is a Facebook site for the Missils and More, but it's incorrect. It's not ours. We don't know.
A Facebook site.
A Facebook site, yes. We don't know where that came from. And it has incorrect opening hours and such on it. So that's
and
something
that'll be hard to get down.
Yes.
Because
So
you don't
it's
have
impossible.
access to it.
It's very, it's very.
Oh, that's too bad.
But that's on our agenda to try to get that down or taken over so that it does have the correct information on it.
All right, so thank you, listeners, for joining us today. I do hope you get a chance to visit the Assembly Building in Topsail Beach and check out those exhibits and tours, and also join in fun at the events hosted by the Historical Society. And thank you also, Laurette Gordon and Cindy Scaparrotti, for taking the time today to sit and tell us about the Missils and More Museum and the Historical Society of Topsail Island. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's episode of Topsail Insider, please show your support by clicking the follow or subscribe button on your favorite podcast listening platform. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Please also go to topsailinsider.com and join our mailing list by clicking on the Make Me a Topsail Insider button. While you're there, you can click the Send Me a Voicemail button and let me know exactly what you're thinking. Your message just might be on an episode of Topsail Insider. You can email me at krista@topsailinsider.com or call or text me at 910-800-0111. Thank you for listening and supporting Topsail Insider and our local businesses and nonprofits. These are our neighbors and our friends, and together we build a mighty and a beautiful community I'm super proud to be a part of. I'll see you around Topsail.
Hey guys, it's Leah with Topsail Talk. I explore local businesses, services, people, and activities in Topsail and its surrounding areas, and I post videos about them. You can find and follow Topsail Talk on Facebook and Instagram. You'll never know where we're going to go, but if you try one of my stops, be sure to tell them Topsail Talk sent you.